Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
They're arriving right before your very eyes.
Yeah,
We saw it. We saw it in the play-in. We saw who they are. We saw what Pat Bev means to them because they're a young team with an old head who knows how to play and has shown them not to be afraid. And Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, is arriving right before your very eyes with his swagger, with his presence, with his body language.
Oh, man. You got Skip Bayless with some weird floral patterned shirt talking about the Timberwolves for the first time in like 17 years.
I love how they're like, this team. This team.
But they don't
Ant
even
Edwards.
know. It's like they're processing the existence of the Timberwolves on live TV. It's like, this team is arriving, and who's the guy's name? Like,
And
check
I've
the
been
notes.
watching-
That Ant-Man guy. Yeah,
And
it's
I
great.
spent the entire year watching LeBron James and the Lakers be awful. And now there's this team. Flyover country.
Emerging.
It's just hilarious.
Amazing. All right. This is Mackie and Judd, daily Minnesota sports, entertainment, therapy, speculation, you name it. The show is presented by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. They've been a partner of the Timberwolves, too, for a long time. So, they know how to pick winners. Timberwolves and Mackie and Judd. That's right. And you can find them online if you're looking for risk management, tools, and protection, and you're looking to maximize your business. FederatedInsurance.com, or it's our business to protect yours. And boys, the executive producer of this show, Declan Goff, has made an executive decision to bring back the weekly pecking order every Tuesday here on
fans
Mackie
like
and
it?
Judd.
Fans are happy.
Our live studio audience is very high on this segment.
You took them to out west, so I've
Yeah,
lost
well,
track of them.
they're just over here next to my barking dog.
I don't know
Maya.
why you had to take
That's
them.
right.
Yeah, there was a station off the air just a couple minutes ago over here, and it's a whole thing. Not our
Are
station.
you gonna be able to
Score's
stay
fine.
here? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. The other our sister station was off the air. I'm okay. That's not
Well,
my.
maybe we can
problem.
feed
That's not your
maybe we
problem.
can feed this to them so that the My Talk audience can be graced
Yeah,
with
they'd love to hear that.
the first pecking order. So this all started with a pigskin pecking order weekly during football seasons like 8 years ago, and then we just started ranking random things with the pecking order. I don't know. We got away from it in the last year, but now it's back every Tuesday. And gentlemen, I have for you, as requested by you guys on a text thread last night, the greatest Timberwolves playoff performances of all time. Individual player performances of all time.
Okay.
And there's a disclaimer for this list that Kevin Garnett could easily occupy like 7 or 8 of the 10. I have 10. 10 of the greatest. Now, they've only won like 16 or 17 playoff games in the franchise's history, and I have 10.
They've advanced once.
One season they advanced.
One
They
season.
advanced twice in that
Twice
season.
in one
Yeah.
season, though.
Yes.
So, like, this is a diehard list right
This
here,
is going to be a
what I'm
trip
saying.
down memory lane. Let's fire up the music here. This
All right, let's
is
do it.
the pecking order of the best Timberwolves playoff performances of all time. And I lied. I actually have 11 because I have an honorable mention. I have an honorable
Now
mention.
you've gone too far. Now you've cheated the system.
The honorable mention. This is nuts. Okay, I'm gonna quiz you guys. 1997 Game 3 Western Conference Round 1 against the Rockets. All right, this was like the Rockets had already won back-to-back titles. Michael Jordan came back and kind of took the crown back
First
over.
playoff appearance, right? By the Wolves?
This was the first Timberwolves playoff
First
appearance.
time they
yes.
qualified. Okay.
Yep, it was, and back then it was a 5-game
Yep.
first round situation.
Yep.
A player not named Kevin Garnett dropped 26 points, 15 rebounds, and played 44 minutes in this game for the Timberwolves, and guarded Hakeem Olajuwon pretty well. They lost the game and they got swept in the series, but after the game was over, Barkley and some of the other Rockets players came up. I think Drexler was on that team, and we're like, dude, you guys, you got something going here. Don't get discouraged. Who is the player that dropped 26, 15, 12 offensive rebounds in 44 minutes?
Well, if he had
Garrett is his name.
It's not, I mean,
Dean Garrett,
Dean Garrett.
Yeah.
Dean Garrett. Dean Garrett.
Yeah, you got something special here with Dean Garrett.
What a pull.
So the Wolves wound up losing the game 125-120, which ended the series. But Dean Garrett went for 26, 15, 12 offensive rebounds in 44 minutes and helped keep the Wolves in that game and almost kept the series alive. So I had to mention that performance.
As nice of guy as you will ever meet. I did a story on him for the Wolves game program back then, and I believe he was a former Hoosier. I think he had played. In fact, he might have been on the national championship team in '87 that beat Syracuse when Keith Smart made that shot.
So he, and I don't know where he lives now, but he used to live still in Minnesota because he would just you just see him in the crowd at Timberwolves games, just this 7-foot dude with super high knees in the seat, just watching bad Timberwolves basketball after the KG era was over. So, all right, number 10 on the list. Let's start with the actual packing order here. Greatest Timberwolves playoff performances ever. Right. Number 10, Jimmy Butler. In the 2018 Western Conference first round against the Rockets, Game 3, Wolves were down 2-0, coming back home. Got to have a win to keep the series competitive. And Jimmy goes off for 28 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. A pretty standard Jimmy Butler performance at that time. And he still puts up performances like that. So the Wolves beat the Rockets pretty handily in this game. That's their only other playoff win besides Saturday in 17, 18 years.
Yep.
So nice work. And there were some other performances. Cat grabbed a bunch of rebounds in that game, but Jimmy Butler, 28, 7, and 5. Kind of his signature performance as a Timberwolf, if you will. All right.
Okay.
Number 9, Anthony Peeler. In Game 5 of the 1998 Western Conference first round against the Sonics. This was Game 5, a decisive Game 5 in a 5-game series on the road in Seattle.
Yep.
And Anthony Peeler went off for 28 points in this game and knocked down 6 3-pointers. He also had 6 assists, 5 steals, and 4 rebounds in this game. It wasn't enough because the Wolves wound up losing. The Sonics pulled away in the fourth quarter, but the Wolves led this game at halftime, and everyone, I think, thought, finally, this is it. I guess this was the second year that they were in the playoffs, so maybe not finally, but KG and Steph combined for 14 points in this game. They were awful. They both scored, I think, 7 points. So it was Anthony Peeler that kept the Timberwolves in that game on the road, decisive Game 5.
The Sonics, man, I miss them so much. That was such a great franchise.
Detlef Schrempf.
Never
Sean
should have
Kemp.
had to move. The man-child.
The glove.
The glove.
Sean Kemp was, at that time, such a star. I mean, he
still has
that was a
weed
fun
shops in the neighborhood here.
He does?
Oh, yeah. Sean
team.
Kemp's,
Huge now.
Sean Kemp's weed shops.
He has some weight.
So Anthony Peeler going off. All right.
Yep.
Number 8 on my list, Anthony Edwards. Game 1 against the Grizzlies, dropping 36 points, 6 assists, helping the Timberwolves to take a 1-0 series lead. I think it's one of the 10 best performances in Timberwolves playoff history.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, really, when you look at the whole spectrum, it's not like, oh my God, he's got to move Mike in aside and I got to take him off the list. So yeah, I mean, it was a great performance. I think.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that there's games on this list and there's more coming. Where it's like Game 1 of the first round, they took a first. If you did this for the Lakers or the Celtics or the Bulls, it'd be. But it's what we have right now, and we're building this thing together. Okay, brick by brick here with the Timberwolves.
Thanks, BJ.
All right, number 7 on the list of my pecking order of greatest Timberwolves playoff performances ever. We go to 2004, Game 5 of the Western Conference semis against the Kings. This wound up being a 7-game series. In Game 5, Latrell Sprewell. The series was tied at 2 games apiece. Back home in Minnesota, and Sprewell went off. He led all scorers with 34 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. This was his best game as a Timberwolf in a time where they needed it to take a 3-2 series lead, and then eventually they win in 7 games. So this is kind of it for Spree. He still played pretty well going forward, but this was like the pinnacle moment for Latrell Sprewell's Timberwolves career.
Had to feed his family, Phil. He had to feed his family.
What was it? He turned down like a 3-year, $21 million contract.
The next year, yeah.
Which, by the way, that's basically what the mid-level exception is now. That's a pretty good contract now in 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he turned it down and never played again. I don't think he played again.
He disappeared. But I think games like that
guy.
is why he said, I need more than $21 million over 3 years.
I guess. Oh. All right. Number 6 on the list here. Let's talk about Sam Cassell. 2004 playoffs. Not the game that you think I'm going to throw out, but this is game 1 of the first round against the Nuggets. And Sam Cassell, in a win over the Nuggets, scored 40 points on 16 of 24 shooting to carry this team, 5 of 6 from downtown. Absolutely bonkers performance by Sam Cassell. And it showed you, like, if you watched him on a regular basis, like this dude can pretty much score. That 16-footer is always there from the elbow. He can shoot threes. He can get to the rim. But he always chose to be with the Timberwolves more of a distributor. And, you know, if the ball swung around to him, he'd shoot a spot-up jumper. But this was a game where he said, I'm feeling myself. I don't just run around my house. I run my house. Yep. I'm going to drop 40 points on 24 shots to help the Wolves take a 1-0 series lead against the Carmelo Anthony-led Nuggets.
Flip had to love that game. Flip had to absolutely love that. Yeah, but I mean, he was like that. That's the thing is the brief shining time for that collection. It was really good. Mm-hmm. Cassell, Sprewell, Garnett, like that was a lot of fun. They were really good together.
So we've cleared out the bottom half of the top 10 here. Jimmy Butler in 2018, Anthony Peeler in a decisive Game 5, going off for 28. Anthony Edwards a couple days ago. Latrell Sprewell, Game 5, Western Conference semis in 04, and Sam Cassell starting off the 2004 playoff run with 40 points. And now we get into the top 5. And most of these guys don't have performance issues in the top 5, all right? But if you do, Valley Park Medical Clinic is here for you, okay? You don't have to be ashamed, don't have to be embarrassed. Valley Park Medical Clinic is dedicated to providing breakthrough ED remedies to men in the greater Minneapolis area. Surgery-free, drug-free, non-invasive treatments. These people are highly trained. I would hope so. They'll work with you in a discreet manner and make you feel at home so you can ask any question in a professional manner in a confidential environment. ValleyParkMedicalClinic.com. All right. Let's get up for the next 5 here. Maya Mackey
Speaking
is
of Timberwolves,
excited about this list.
Speaking of pups.
Maya's very excited.
My little Timberwolf outside the door here, all excited. We're going to train her to not do that in a couple weeks here once old Macadac gets back from his travels.
She's a fan. She's a fan of the show.
She loves the show. Loves the show. All right, number 5, Tyrell Brandon in 2000. So this would have been the 4th year of Wolves. So 97, 90. This would have been the 4th year of Wolves playoffs. Game 3 of the Western Conference first round matchup against the Blazers. All right?
Yeah.
So the Wolves, again, these are 5-game series. The Wolves were down 2-0, 1 game away from elimination. So they need performances here. Tyrell Brandon in this game, and it wound up being a loss, but he played all 48 minutes of Game 3. Scored 28 points, dished 12 assists, and grabbed 7 rebounds. And on defense, he held Damon Stoudemire, the point guard for the Blazers, to 2 points on 0 for 8 shooting. This was Tyrell Brandon's shining moment with the Timberwolves, unfortunately in a loss that ended the series. But this dude played all 48 minutes of Game 3.
Never did that again or came close.
And then he was cooked.
Like he was Buxton before Buxton.
Yeah. He had like random foot injuries and knee and stuff. But, you know, Flip Saunders going through some of these games, like Flip Saunders was not playing 9 or 10 man rotations. He was playing 7 or 8 guys, and the top players were playing 42, 44 minutes, or in this case, 48 minutes. And he was riding his best players. So how about that? TB, 48 minutes? No breathers.
Yeah.
If you had asked me, did Tyrell Brandon ever in his entire career, playoff or not, play an entire game with the Wolves, I'd say, highly doubtful.
Well,
no
nobody,
way.
I think LeBron
that's
James did it
pretty
one
impressive.
time at one point with the Cavs when they were playing the Warriors, or they gave him didn't they give him a minute rest one time, and the Warriors went on like a 7-0 run, and they brought him back in the game. So incredible. KG, I think, played 43 or 44 minutes in this game. So even
Slacker.
KG, one of the most durable, conditioned players in NBA history, needed 5 minutes to breathe.
I mean,
All right,
even just quickly on TB, just quickly.
Yeah. No, take your time. Take your time.
In 12 playoff games, this dude averaged 39 minutes for the Wolves. He played in 12 games for the Wolves in the playoffs, started all 12 of them, 18 points, 46% shooting. Like, the dude was really solid.
No, he was really good.
Awesome numbers.
Yeah, he was. I think in a lot of ways he was actually better than Marbury, because Marbury tended to be kind of a volume shooter and was a little bit more of a selfish guy. But I always throw back to that era. The Wolves drafted Ray Allen, and they traded him on draft night
It's
for
still a good
Stephon
trade.
Marbury.
Still a good trade. Still a good trade at the time.
How can you say that though?
Yeah,
like
I
I know
don't
that 25 years later, it's
because-
hindsight's
because-
2020. But
Because back then, the point guard position and what Steph brought was instrumental, and he and KG were going to be a great pairing.
But
And
don't you
so-
think Ray Allen very clearly would have been the better pairing with KG? That they would have, like, Ray
In
Allen wouldn't have
hindsight, with the
demanded
way
a
that-
trade after 2 years?
In hindsight, with the way that the game operates today, yes. But at that time, point guards were it. Like, you had to find one, and this poor franchise hadn't found one. And I believe that their first point guard that they had, who was like after Pooh, a true point guard, was Michael Williams, who, if I'm not mistaken, was the first of a laundry list of athletes from our state who developed plantar fasciitis.
Oh yeah, didn't Wally have it?
And Cordova had it eventually. I think
Cordova.
Shannon Stewart had it.
That's
Wally had it. But anyway, so when they took Steph or traded for Steph, it was seen as this, oh my God, now you got Batman and Robin. It's
Yeah.
going to be fantastic. Like, we celebrated. We thought it was a great, great trade in retrospect.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it was like Ray Allen would have been better. I would imagine if you had Ray Allen and Tyrell Brandon, you know, you could have acquired Tyrell
But
Brandon.
Tyrell Brandon was really good. The problem was his health.
Speaking of Wally Zerbiak, I saw on Saturday after Pat Bev sent a tweet out celebrating the Game 1 victory or whatever it was, and Wally Zerbiak retweeted like, "You're making us proud." Is that the first time Wally has acknowledged his Timberwolves lineage in like the last 10 years?
You know,
Like it's not like
Actually.
Wally is like he covers the Knicks on MSG, right? It's not, and he does some national stuff for CBS. But is Wally like publicly proud of his Timberwolves? I feel like he just kind of puts it aside, you know. And now that they're good, he's like, "That's right, I was a Timberwolf."
I don't
great.
remember him saying much about the Wolves. Yeah, no, I don't.
Maybe I'm wrong on that, but all right, number 4. Shut him down. Troy Hudson, noted rapper.
T-Hud.
And very good offensive point guard for a few years with the Timberwolves. 2003, Game 2 of Western Conference Round 1 against the Lakers. The Wolves were in danger of falling down 2-0 in the series here. They were already down 1-0. And Troy Hudson comes up with a 37-point performance on 16 shots. He also got to the free throw line somehow 16 times. He went 15 of 16 from the free throw line. Also dished out 10 assists in this game. This was the game that kind of put Troy Hudson on the map, and then eventually he got more money, went to other teams, whatever. But 37 points on 16 shots in a game that helped to make that first-round series. This is when it became a 7-game first-round series, and they went 6 against this Lakers team that wound up winning the championship.
That was exciting.
So now what people forget about this game, including myself, as we transition to the number 3 slot here, greatest performances in Timberwolves playoff history. Everyone talks about the T-Hud game. In that same game, Kevin Garnett, number 3 on this list, went for 35, 20, and 7.
Wow.
KG
20.
had the
Oh
better
my God.
game. In the T-Hud game, KG had the better game. 35, 20, and 7 against Shaq and the Lakers and Kobe and the Lakers. A championship Lakers team.
20. Oh my God.
This was
I
the year
forgot
also
about
that
that line.
KG should have been the MVP. He got the MVP the next year. Tim Duncan, I think, got it this year. But like KG was playing at an MVP level and got snubbed. But that's the first KG appearance on this list. Again, you could have had 8 KG. I mean, KG grabbed 15, 20 rebounds in seemingly almost every game. Number 2. The big balls dance game, boys.
Oh, that's number 2?
The big balls dance game. Sam Cassell, 2004, Game 2 of the Western Conference semis against the Sacramento Kings. So I watched this back last night. I watched the fourth quarter of this game on YouTube. It's available. Mike Breen, a young Mike Breen, is doing the game. I think with Bill Walton, actually. Interesting pairing. So the Wolves were down by 10 points with 4 minutes left in this game at home, in danger of losing the first 2 games at home in this 7-game series, which they would have been screwed. And Sam Cassell helps the Wolves rip off 13 straight points. He scored, I think, 7 of those 13, including a jumper from the baseline that gave the Wolves a 91-88 lead with 17 seconds remaining, and a big balls dance for the ages as he hopped down the court and celebrated. That crowd was maniacal. I mean, you forget like how crazy those crowds were at Target Center in that era. And Sam Cassell was he blew the roof off with that jumper on the baseline to culminate a 13-0 run to win that game.
I thought that would be atop your list, so I'm very curious to hear what the number one is, because I thought that would be it.
I mean, the number one is, I think, pretty obvious. Kevin Garnett, 2004 Game 7 Western Conference Semis against the Kings. 32 points, 21 rebounds, 5 blocks, 4 steals, 2 assists, only 1 foul committed despite all of that activity.
Wow, that's
in a grinded-out game. And the Wolves clinched a trip to the Western Conference Finals for the first and only time in franchise history. He knocked down a 3 from the top of the key in a crucial moment in that game, and hopped up on the scores table afterward. Like, just it's the most iconic game and moment in Wolves franchise history. He did the whole loading up the clips and the Uzis
That's right.
thing before the game, right? Got criticism for that.
The day before, yeah.
So, do you have any problems with that being number one?
No,
not at all.
Okay.
That's a good one, yeah.
So
Didn't he also play like 47 minutes in that game?
I think it was
Let me see
44, I want to say.
Okay.
I don't know if you have it in front of you.
45, yeah, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Good Lord.
So there it is. Those are the 10 best playoff performances in Timberwolves history. I didn't, Carl's had a couple decent games, but I did not put Carl on this list yet. Maybe he can earn it here against Memphis at some point.
In the loss to the Rockets, had one good game, right?
He had a couple double doubles.
Okay, because he was terrible. He got ripped because he was terrible in game 1. I don't think he played great in game 2, but then the games back here, he might have improved.
Yeah, let's see. The game 1 against the Rockets was actually a pretty close game. They almost stole game 1 on the road. In that series, I'm just pulling up his log here. So he had the first 2 games, or when he got clowned on national TV, like he literally just stood in the corner and did nothing the whole game. He played 40 minutes in the first game, took 9 shots, scored 8 points. In the second game, he only played 23 minutes, scored 5 points. Like, he was just unusable in the first 2 games. And then when they got back home, he went for 18 and 16, 22 and 15, and then game 5 they lost. He went for 23 and 14. So he kind of came back to being the Karl Towns that we know, but he's a different dude now. Like, he only took, it's crazy, he only took 11 threes in that whole series against the Rockets. He took 5 threes in the first game against Memphis. So different player, put in different situations. He'll emerge on this list at some point. So KG Game 7 is number 1. Sam Cassell Big Balls Dance is number 2. KG and Troy Hudson lighting up the Lakers in Game 2 are 3 and 4. Tyrell Brandon playing all 48 minutes in 2000 against the Blazers, number 5. Sam Cassell, 40 points against the Nuggets in 2004. Sprewell, a 34-point performance against the Kings in Game 5, 04. Anthony Edwards on Saturday. Peeler going off in the decisive Game 5 against the Sonics. And Jimmy Butler, 2018, Game 3. And
good list.
Shout out to Dean Garrett for the honorable mention there.
I had no idea that Dean still went to Wolves games after KG was traded as a fan. I had no idea. That's awesome.
Maybe he still lives in Minnesota. So there you go. That is your pecking order for this week, the Mackey and Judd pecking order.
Nicely done.
Yeah, maybe we can add another one here at some point. Got Dex with the Wolves in 4. Steam going
Wolves in 4
here.